morning, all. Suburban Sentinel here, coming to you once again from deep inside the Arabian Peninsula. This is part 2 in our series entitled Preppernomics, where we examine the financial aspects of prepping. One of the most difficult aspects of prepping is deciding where we should allocate our resources. In other words, how should we spend our money and our energy for preparing for the future? The inherent difficulty is that we have no idea what that future might look like. There are so many variables. This is a complicated world and almost anything can happen. We have natural disaster. We have economic malaise or even an economic collapse. We have man-made difficulties, war, insurrection. The list goes on and on. In addition, many events do not occur in isolation. One thing can lead to another. A natural disaster can lead to civil unrest, etc., etc. This makes our job even more complex. So how do we allocate our resources and plan for the future when we have nearly an infinite number of variables to deal with? It's a daunting issue. One thing I've found that might help is to borrow from the study of religion. And what I'm talking about is the concept of via negativa. Now, I am certainly no theologian, but my understanding of via negativa is that God is incomprehensible to mere mortals. But we can get closer to an understanding of God through studying that which God is not. Borrowing from this concept, perhaps we can more sharply focus on that which we want to prepare for by identifying that which we do not want to prepare for. I think the best way to explain this is by example, and I will use the case that is the inspiration for this particular video. I had an exchange with a prepper friend of mine, and he wanted to kick around some ideas for a project he was working on. Basically, his plan is to build an underground bunker for himself and his family for an end of days type scenario, whether it's a nuclear, biological, or chemical disaster or attack or what have you. Now, this project of his is pretty ambitious and not insignificant. He is looking at spending at least $100,000 and perhaps up to $250,000 for this bunker or shelter that he wants to put on his property. So we were kicking around cost estimates and payment options and all the financial things associated with such a big project, and he asked me which way would I go if I were going to do a bunker like he is. And I think that's a fair question, but I told him the truth, that I had no intention of ever making a bunker. At first he was kind of insulted. He's like, well, how dare you try to help me spend my money on this bunker project when you wouldn't do it yourself? And I guess that reaction is somewhat understandable, but he and I are in much different positions and have much different values. First, he is in a very good financial position. If he had to, he could just write a check for $250,000 for his bunker project without substantially interfering with his lifestyle. In addition, he has children, younger children, and some grandchildren on the way, I believe. Unlike him, if I were to spend in excess of $100,000 on some type of bunker, that would impose a severe financial hardship on our family, something that I am certainly not willing to do. In addition, I have no kids or grandkids to worry about their well-being. Basically, it comes down to I am not willing to sacrifice everything that makes our life good in the present for a cataclysm that may happen in the future. It's just not worth it to me. I don't want to live like a pauper so I can have a bunker in case something really goes wrong. In addition, this is also a values thing. If there is a cataclysmic event and the result is some sort of Mad Max-like dystopian scenario, well, the truth is I would prefer not to survive. I don't want to live in a world where we have gangs fighting over the last case of tuna fish. But that's just me. I certainly have no need nor any desire to judge people how they prep who are in different circumstances and have different values. The fact that he wants to build a bunker for himself and his family, and that's what he wants to do, it's his money, I say rock on. It's not something I would do, but if that's where he wants to put his resources, I am certainly willing to help him, and I won't criticize him for that. For me, using the concept of via negativa means I am not going to prepare for the end of the world, because in some, I really don't want to see it. Having that clarity of purpose as to where I do not want to put any of my efforts or resources allows me to more effectively focus on those areas where I can prep effectively. I hope that utilizing the concept of via negativa can help you with allocating your resources for prepping as much as it has helped me. Thanks for watching. This is the Suburban Sentinel. Please thumbs up and subscribe if you like what you see. Questions, enlightening comments, and differing opinions are always welcome. Prep and be safe, everybody.